let's start with number 9. Audrey, you were trying to do this as an and statement. These two arrows point in opposite directions. What statement should this be? It's an or statement. So either, I heard you say x is greater than or equal to 11. That is true. X is greater than or equal to 11. Or, Audrey? X is less than 7. This is the answer. The only other way to write it would have been this here and this here. Everything else has to be the same. And then it wanted you to give 2 solutions. That means give me 2 numbers that work. One number I think works is 12. Give me another number that works. 13, another number that works. Reggie. 14, give me another number that works. 15, give me another that works. 100, give me a negative number that works. Negative 1, negative 5, negative 100, negative million, all of them, right? They all work. As long as it satisfies this, and you place it on the number line, it would be in that dark section. Questions on that? Moving up to number 7, I think what you did wrong is maybe you messed up your picture. I've got, if I'm going to put a ladder against the wall, here's my ladder. Put it against the wall, and it forms the diagonal. That's what you did wrong. You didn't make it the diagonal. I put my ladder against the wall. Here it is. My ladder is 12 feet long. My wall is 8 feet high. How far apart are they? Here's your x. So what should your equation look like, Amaja? You gave me a squared plus b squared is c squared, I think. What should you have done? 8 squared plus, which number here represents the other leg? Here's my right angle. This is one leg, what's the other one? X. So 8 squared plus x squared equals 12 squared. 64 plus x squared equals 144. X squared equals 80. Is that right? X equals radical 80. I would take radical 80, or I would take an estimate for it. What is an approximate estimate for radical 80? Don't put in your calculator an approximate estimate for radical 80. 8.9. Because what's radical 81? 9. So 80 is just 1 away. So I would say about 8.9 would be your best answer. About 8.9 feet. I'm going to do number 6 last. Let's flip back. I want to do number 3 and 5 on this side. Number 3, and poor Jahas got tricked. When I read it to you, I tried to be so leading in the way I read it to try to help. Most of you agreed with me. You got the same thing as him, but you didn't read it. I even wrote it in all caps. Point F is located at negative 2, 3 after the transformation. Negative 2, 3. This is where it landed after I transformed it. This is the second one. It wants to know where was the original. So when I transformed it, I transformed something, and I did x minus 2. What does that mean I did to the original point? X minus 2. X minus 2. What did I do to the original point? So what did I do on this grid? I had a point somewhere, and I moved it around, and it landed here. The way I moved it was x minus 2, y plus 3. So on a coordinate grid, what does x minus 2 mean? X's tells me up and down? Which way? Minus is going to be left or right, Tiani? I went left 2. I took some point, and I moved it left 2, and it landed here. So if it landed here, what was its original x coordinate? So that when I moved it over 2, it landed at negative 2. 0. It started here at 0 somewhere. So it was originally 0 something. And then I did y plus 3. So what did I do to the original point? What does y plus 3 mean? What did I do on the grid? I went up 3, which means from this point I have to go down 3. So if it's currently at negative 2, 3, and I went up 3 to get here, where did the 3 start? 0. My original point was at 0. So listen again, because I'm getting one voice when I'm asking the question, which is telling me you don't actually understand what I'm talking about. This question says, Point F is located at -2, 3 after a transformation. And this was the transformation. X coordinates go left and right. When I subtract from an X coordinate, I am moving left. What would I do if I wanted to move right? Raise your hand. What would I do if I wanted to move to the right, Brian? It would have to be +2. Y tells me up and down. Positive tells me up or down, Amaja. Up. Negative would tell me down. So this question is saying, I moved a point left 2 and up 3, and it landed here. So where did it start? So you have to work backwards. So I went left 2, which means this was 2 to the right. -2 + 2 is 0. I went up 3, and it landed at 3, which means it started at 0. So it started here, and then I went left 2, 1, 2, + 3, 1, 2. Let's see if you really understand it. You're shaking your head at me. I have point G at 3, -1. It landed here after I transformed it X + 1, Y - 2. Where did it start? Work with your partner. You can draw a bridge. What you got to do. You got it? It's your mom. You have to start that. So if you can think of it that way, because I don't really do that. It landed on 3 after I went right 1. Right, that's the right 1. So where was it? Right 1 landed on 3. Take the coordinates correct. Numbers. And I added 1 to it. So where was I? When I added 1. That's 2. So the X coordinate was 2. The -1. We have to go down 2. Where do I start? Down 2. Here I went down 2. Where was the original point? Where was my original point?
No, we're even.
Lewis. 2-1. Was that 2-1? Questions on this? There's different ways to do it. What I heard Jahas telling Anthony, tell us what Jahas you were telling Anthony.
What I did the opposite. Was like, so when it says +1, I did -1, and when it said -2, I did +2.
Good, because he knows this happened after this, so he just did the opposite. That's one way to do it. I don't do it that way. I draw my grid and I say, if it was at 3 after it went up 1, that means I have to go back down 1. So I go down on the grid, I draw a sketch on mine. Okay, you got to do what works for you, but you got to read the question. You guys can't get transformation questions wrong. You have to get them right. It's expected you get them right. So next week I will give you a homework where we practice this notation with transformations, which you got to get better at. Any questions? I didn't understand you. Start again and go slower.
You know how you like set up a problem on the slope, you gotta do number minus number.
Did that work for you? Okay, so he did the same thing as Jahas, sort of. He set it up as a problem where he took what he started with and subtracted from it. Yes? Okay. All right, that's the way too. Whatever way works for you is fine with me. Okay, and lastly, I want to do number 5 on this page. Number 5 also is a question you guys should be able to do. How did you try to solve this? What did you do? Jahas is on fire today. Hands up all the time. Reggie, what did you do? Formula for value of the cylinder, which is value equals pi r squared height. Then what does 307.72 represent? So where did that go? For V. So you've got this formula, fill in what you know. He put this here, equals pi r squared, and he knew his height was 2, so he put the 2 there. That makes sense. Then you wanted to get rid of the 2, so you divided by it, you said? I agree. What'd you get? Equals pi r squared. Then, what should he do next? He's trying to figure out r. Javon?
Divide 156 by pi.
Good, you divide by pi. That's going to eliminate your pi. Very good job. It seems like most of you are on the right track. In your calculator, I would do 153.46 divided by 3.14. I wouldn't use the pi button. 49. You got 48 point something if you use the pi button. You use 3.14. What do you get? 49. 49 equals r squared. Therefore, r equals 7.
What I did was I did divided by 2. Also, I did 3.14 divided as well. So I had 2 times 3.
I did that as well. I did it in one step. You got the same thing?
I know, I was like 2 numbers down. I got like 3 to 6 numbers.
You're going to be off a little bit if you use the pi button. If somebody gives you, when does pi end?
Never.
Never. So if somebody was to use the pi button, would they be able to cut the volume off in 2 digits? No. So if they give you something cut off in 2 digits, assume they use 3.14 and use 3.14. Once you divide by the pi button, you're dividing by 3.1415 and so on. A big list of numbers is going to throw you off a tiny bit. If you did it that way, you probably got 48 point something, 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 something equals r squared, and you had to know in your brain that means it's 49. Okay? I would continue to use 3.14 for pi unless you do differently, Steph Michelle. Okay? And last one is number 6. In number 6, I'm not going to put it on the board. It's right in front of you. Answer 78. Here's what you had to do. Angle 5 was 3x minus 9, and angle 3 was 5x minus 83. Those two angles have what relationship? 3 and 5. Alternate interior angles, which means they are equal. So I set them equal to each other. I solved for x. I got x equals 37. Then I substituted 37 into 5x minus 83, because that was angle 3. When I substituted that in, I got 102. If angle 3 is 102, how do I know angle 2 is 78? What do you think, Ayalani? If I know angle 3 is 102, how do I find angle 2? 5. Subtract from 180 seconds. Subtract from 180 to find the missing angle. Most of you got somewhere in that problem, you just didn't all finish it. You got to go all the way through the problem until you get the answer. Alright, so don't cut it short just when you set them equal to each other and solve for x. That's not what it asks you for. Questions? And does anybody have any attachment to this? Do they want to keep this for the rest of their lives? You do? Anybody not want to keep it for the rest of their lives? If you don't want to keep it, hold it up. Okay, so this hold it up on 3, 1, 2, 3. Crumble it on 3, 1, 2, 3. And shoot on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God. Put a sword to him. Ain't nobody been teaching. I did.
Oh,
there you go.
Eric is feeling it. Too late. We've already thrown it. We've already picked it up. We're already on to the next part of our life. Of course. Keep it moving. As soon as you get this problem of the day, you got to put your name on it and you got to start reading it so that when we start by ourselves, you've already read the problem. It's a long problem. So you're going to have to be very focused today. I love that I see people in the back row there just reading the problem. Figure out what we're doing so that you're ready to go. before you start this problem today, now that you had a quick second to review it, before you started, pick your heads up and look at me. Before you start this problem, I just want you to remember what we've been talking about, right? Because if you just start reading this and you start analyzing this little looking line graph looking thing as if it were just a line graph you see every day, you might struggle a little bit. What have we been talking about? What's the title of the notes? Where might this be going? So she said it might just shoot up because of exponential growth. So why did she say that? Exponential growth doesn't have a constant rate. So as you're looking at this, and I don't want to give you anything else, I just want to let you know when you look at this, that's what we've been talking about. So don't analyze this like you were a 7th grader. Think of this like you're an 8th or 9th grader. This is about exponential growth. You're looking at these two lines. Do either of them look exponential to you right now? No, but that you know that's what this is about. So go into this with an eye as an algebra student. Okay? You have 3 minutes by yourself to start answering, and then we'll take some time together. Go ahead. Good. You guys are doing a great job starting to answer them. I need you to get to your page. One thing it asks you for is percent increase. Does anybody remember how you find percent of change?
Wow. Okay, oh wait.
How do you find percent change? Anybody remember the formula? I would wish somebody could just open up their composition book and have the formula sitting there instead of giving it for in this class.
It's R plus.
Nope. This formula is for percent change. You have got to remember old things, even though it will be new things. Percent change has nothing to do with exponential growth. It's change over original amount. We've done this a million times. You should have a place to find it. It's the last time I will ever tell you. Next time I will let you get it wrong. change over original amount. Put it somewhere you can find it. If you're writing it on your notes, what good does that do? We clean out our binders. Put it in the notebook I gave you. I'm disappointed that I'm telling you this again. This is the difference between you and 8A. They write it down and they find it, you don't. I've got to keep giving it to you. Change over original. You subtract and divide by the original amount. We've done this before you a million times. Go ahead, work together. 5 minutes. I want this page done and done right. You can do it. What would the same rate be? What is the rate These lines are not clear.
The change, I thought I did that. If it didn't come out, coming out over here.
I think that when you're looking at a function like this, right, and you might be right anyway, because you're not looking at the whole graph with a snippet of it. What I want you to think about is if you're looking at something and a snippet of it, of course, with real life stuff, it might not be exactly linear, like 100 over 100 over 1. But if it behaves kind of linear, meaning it's growing about the same rate each year, almost a constant rate, probably it's called linear. So you're saying it's not linear at all, but I think it kind of is a little bit. It's starting to kind of come up a little bit. So Joe's observation says, I don't think they're now, but they sure seem to draw the same rate. Your answer was it's not linear. But what do you understand what Joe means? Does Joe make some sense? Thinking like it kind of looks like right, so you're worried about the fact that you're taking curves slowly down from point to point here. Is it kind of unclear to me the rate of change? What is rate of change? What's another word for rate of change? Is there another word for rate of change? So you could definitely check that, but the slopes are equal or close to each other. There's only 2 minutes. You should be making sure you get through these questions, all right? 2000, it was 6,000. What was it in 1960? So how much did it change? All right, let's talk about this a little bit together. Some of the groups totally on the right track, some of the groups not so much. So Callie claims that the U.S. population grew the same as the world population. True or not true, Chris? Why not?
Because there are the world's population, they're also counting other countries.
That's just from your prior knowledge, you know that doesn't seem right. What about these graphs, if I didn't know that, tells me that they did not grow the same amount? What are the sides called? What is that called? The intervals or the scale, okay? In the world population, they're counted by thousands of millions. In the U.S., they're doing hundreds of millions, right? And so we know that they're definitely not the same amount, okay? Additionally, based on prior understanding, of course, the world and the U.S. population can't be the same. Joe, though, he says, I don't think they grew the same amount, but they definitely grew at the same rate. Look at the slopes. And when I'm reading people's answers here, some people are putting something really simple. Louis, what did you put? For 2. C.
I thought that's because your slopes look around the same.
Yes, because their slopes look around the same, right? He put it pretty simple. He looks at these, they look like they're about the same steepness, slopes must be about the same, sure. Some people put something as simple as that. Some people put what Eric thought. Eric, what did you think when you looked at them?
They were curving.
He said, no, the slopes aren't the same. They don't